There are two kinds of fat: subcutaneous fat, which is the fat under your skin, and visceral fat. Now, visceral fat is that deep layer of fat that sits deep within your organs. And if you've got too much visceral fat, it's highly inflammatory. It can increase your risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, metabolic dysfunction, and even cancer. Therefore, it's really important you know how to lose it. So if you want to lose visceral fat, this is exactly what I would do in the first 30 days to make sure you get results as quickly as possible. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Adrian McDonald. I'm a former skinny fat guy turned full-time online fitness coach. We help busy working professionals, CEOs and executives get in shape fast using our metabolic priming method. Now, the 5 methods I'm going to show you in this video to lose the visceral fat has helped my clients worldwide get in shape. So for example, Johnny went from 97 to 70 kilograms after 1 year of one-on-one coaching. Tamim, a medical doctor, he went to 11% body fat, from skinny fat to 11% body fat, and saw his abs for the first time age 44, okay? It also helped Davey, a busy dad of 4, get in shape, okay? Lose belly fat, lose visceral fat, and see himself in a way he'd never seen before. So these methods will work if you implement them. However, with that being said, these methods are not for everyone. The first one in particular, which is follow the principle of metabolic priming diet, okay? So with our metabolic priming diet, we focus on 3 main pillars. Eat mostly single ingredient whole foods. An apple is just an apple. Apple juice, on the other hand, may contain elements of an apple, but it's also got hundreds of added ingredients. So the more single ingredient whole foods you will eat, it's going to help you stay fuller for longer and stay more satiated. Number 2 is you have a plant and a protein at every single meal. And number 3 is you eat the right amount of calories for you and for your individual goal. Now, when someone works with us at the start, we tend to be a bit strict with the diet. So a lot of people, respectfully, they want balance, which balance is cool in the long term, but balance should only be looked at over the course of 1 or 2 years. What we're a bigger fan of at Mac Lifestyle Fitness is micro periods of imbalance. So let's just say 90 days now where we go in an all-out sprint, okay? We go hard and we adjust the dial. So maybe previously someone coming to work with us, their fitness on a scale of 1 to 10, they might be like a 4 or 5. We turn the dial up to an 8 or 9, we stay there consistently. Then once you actually get in shape fast, okay, it's way easier to maintain it. That's why when people say fitness, it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. True to some degree. However, I believe you should sprint at the start, provided you have a plan to get back more towards maintenance. So with our clients, especially if you want to lose visceral fat in the first 30 days, what we really recommend is that we cut out basically all of our alcohol as much as possible, reduce or eliminate processed sugars, refined sugars, and reduce or eliminate cheat meals, because all of these are pro-inflammatory. They can cause inflammation in the gut, they can impact your digestion, and again, they can just make getting results that bit harder. And just when you think about it from a mindset perspective, people are always most motivated at the start of a journey to actually see results. So that's when we actually tend to make the faster changes, and then once you see results, you're going to be more motivated to stay going, and then we can adjust the dial and turn it back a bit. But I recommend at the start, you really dial in the nutrition, okay? Cut out all the eliminated and processed foods, and really start focusing on single ingredient whole foods, high protein, and even the right amount of calories. Number 2 is going to be you build some good sustainable habits you can implement. So for example, hydrate before you caffeinate. Drink at least 500 mils of water before you get your first coffee, okay? Number 2 is going to be weigh yourself actually first thing in the morning. The more ways you can measure, the more ways you can win. Number 3 is that you try to get exercise in the first 90 minutes of the day, even if it's just a 50-minute walk. This is not only good for your body, but it's also good for your mind. And when you do this 3-step process, okay, where you weigh yourself first thing in the morning, you drink your water, you get some form of exercise in, you're starting your day off with a win. Okay, whereas what a lot of people do is they start the day off in a loss. They say they're going to get up at 5 a.m, they get up at 6:30, they hit the snooze button, okay? They say they're going to go to the gym, they don't end up going, they lose confidence in themselves. They say they're going to eat healthy, yet when something is handed to them at work, whether it's a pastry or a cupcake, they cannot control their discipline and essentially their mindset, okay? But when you start keeping the promises you make to yourself and just start the day off with small little wins, that can have a compounding effect in the rest of your day. Now, other habits to implement are kitchen open, kitchen close rule. So what that essentially means is that you have a hard cut-off time or set time where you finish up eating. What we have found for most of our clients is they come to us and their typical day looks like this. They get up in the morning, first thing they do is they drink coffee. They skip breakfast, they might have something small like a pastry at 10 o'clock, they go for lunch, a sandwich, a sushi at lunch, and they're absolutely starving by dinner time. Dinner time then they just eat a huge dinner, which probably they don't need as much, high carbohydrate, highly refined, and then the evening time after dinner they have biscuits, they've got potatoes, they've got chocolates, and they repeat that cycle. What we have found is that when you've got more of a structure with your nutrition, so you know exactly, okay, what time you're starting and what time you're finishing eating at, Your body craves familiarity, and when you've got that routine, it makes sticking to the diet much, much easier. So what we recommend with our clients is that 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, you try to stop eating. So for example, if you're in bed for 10 p.m, try to stop eating by 7 o'clock. Okay, so if you know your final meal is at 7 o'clock, something like this can work well. Okay, 7 o'clock your final meal, 4 p.m. we have a high protein snack, 1 o'clock we've got a high protein lunch with some veggies, 10 o'clock we got another high protein snack, and 7 a.m. we're having our breakfast. If you have that set eating routine for 12 hours, what it's going to do is eliminate mindless snacking. A lot of people actually don't fall down on the meals they eat, it's what they have in between the meals. So when you know, or if you know what foods you're going to eat, you've got it planned in advance, and you've got a hard cut-off time, it will essentially make sticking to the nutrition much, much easier. Number 3 is not only important for losing visceral fat, but it's also important in general, and that is tracking data. So we recommend our clients to track 3 key forms of data. Number 1 is you track your body weight every single morning, because your weight can fluctuate daily depending on your stress levels, how soon you ate the night before, your water intake, and so on. But then every single week as well, we recommend our clients to take progress pictures. This is because a lot of people can be making progress where they're losing body fat, but the scale is not going down. So if we track both of those, it will essentially help us understand as coaches if you're visually foreseeing changes, but also on the scale of foreseeing changes too. Now, the second thing we recommend our clients to track is keeping a food diary. So research indicates that those who keep a food diary compared to those who don't, they can actually consume upwards of 50% extra calories without even realizing. So for example, there was a really interesting study done with participants whereby they thought they were consuming 1,200 calories a day, but they could not lose body weight. What they actually found was they're consuming anywhere from 21 to 2,200 calories a day. Now, when you think about it, that's an extra 1,000 calories a day that they didn't even assess or account for. Now, an extra 1,000 calories a day over the course of a week is 7,000 extra calories. Knowing that it takes 3,500 calorie deficit to lose 1 pound of fat, that can be the difference between losing and gaining 2 pounds of body fat per week by just tracking your calories. So we recommend our clients to track their calories for at least 30 days, and then at least then when you have the routine and structure, you know what calories are in certain foods, we don't need to be as strict with it. And then finally, number 3 is you track your weight in the gym, which is going to be point number 4, because again, when you know your strength is going the right direction, okay, and also if your body fat's reducing, that's a really good indication you're losing body fat while maintaining muscle mass. Now, number 4 is going to be train smart, okay, so if you want to improve your body composition, which is the ratio of muscle to fat that you have, to lose body fat, that's going to primarily come down to your nutrition. However, if you want to build muscle, that's where structured strength training comes in. At Mac Lifestyle Fitness, we do something called metabolic resistance training, which essentially incorporates some strength work, some hypertrophy work, which is muscle building work, some cardio work, and also some mobility work. What we often find with a lot of our clients is that they don't want to be pro bodybuilders, okay? They don't want to be the guy that you look really fit, you look jacked, but they're out of breath going up a flight of stairs. Most of our clients are busy working professionals, they want to be able to play with their children, they want to be able to run a 5 or a 10k, but they also want to be able to look like they lift, feel confident with their top off. So what we have found is that if we incorporate some strategic methods of training into their training program, we can actually accommodate and improve all these things. And particularly when it comes to losing visceral fat, okay, the more muscle mass you have, the better you're going to look, okay, and the lower your body fat percentage will be. So what we recommend with training is train at least 3 hours per week, okay? So if you have 3 hours a week, you can get 4 45-minute sessions in. If we break that down into some strength work focused on the compound lifts, things like squats, deadlifts, chin-ups, rows, and so on, that's going to be very helpful. But also in doing some hypertrophy work, muscle building work, and then combine this with some cardio work, so things like elliptical, steady state cardio, this can all be really helpful for burning additional calories and improving your cardiovascular fitness. And finally, a lot of people neglect the mobility side, so that's why we incorporate some form of movement and mobility work every single day to help you feel and function and perform pain-free. Now, interesting enough, when it comes to visceral fat, some research does indicate that doing HIIT training, anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes a week even, can actually have some benefits. So what you could also do is incorporate something like 10 seconds assault bike, max out hard effort, you go really, really hard, followed by a 50-second rest, and you repeat that for 10 to 20 sets. 1 or 2 times a week. Do that in conjunction with following our metabolic resistance training principle, okay? And you can actually get in amazing shape. And when you think about it, there's 168 hours in the week, okay? What we always encourage our clients to do is to treat their workouts like you would treat your business meeting or your doctor's appointment. If you know something's on the calendar, you will make it a priority, you will get it done. Treat your workouts the same way. They gotta be non-negotiables. You have to get them done, okay? And that's why we recommend our clients to plan out their week at the start. So if you know that you've got a lot of business meetings on a Wednesday, that could be a rest day. That could just be a day where you get 8 to 10,000 steps in a day. But then if you know that you've got a lighter day at work on Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday, that's when you can get your 4 sessions in. But having a plan for a week, and most importantly, have a training plan to follow, that will really help you improve your body composition and reduce the visceral fat. And just finally, speaking of a training plan, a lot of people, they just DIY it in the gym. Okay, like I just see it every day. People go to the gym, they do bicep curls, they do core work, they do bench press, and they go home. Like, there's a difference between working out and training. Working out, just going to the gym, doing a load of random exercises. Training, on the other hand, is specific, it's strategic, and it's measurable towards you and towards your individual goals. Just make sure, above all else, you follow a training program. Respectfully, a lot of people, they also go do like spinning classes, HIIT classes, boot camps. These are great ways for burning calories, but they're not effective ways for building muscle. And because muscle is more metabolically active than fat, if you want to lose visceral fat and increase your muscle mass, you got to be following a progressive strength training program. Do this also in conjunction with just walking 8 to 10,000 steps a day, and again, that's a very effective way of losing visceral fat. The reason this is important is because visceral fat, with an increase in visceral fat, can also come an increase in cortisol. And because cortisol is your stress hormone, a good way to reduce cortisol and stress is to walk more, to be out in nature more. And walking 8 to 10,000 steps a day will not only help you reduce your cortisol level, but will also help you burn some additional calories. Okay, and then finally number 5, which actually goes off number 4 when I talk about walking more, and that is sleep more. So again, sleeping more, there's a direct correlation with a reduction in stress with an increase in sleep. So if you aim to sleep 7 to 8 hours a night, again, that's going to positively impact your reduction in visceral fat, your exercise performance, and even the foods you make, the choice you make with your nutrition. So what we encourage our clients to do to improve their sleep is to follow the 10-3-2-1 rule. That is, 10 hours before bed you cut caffeine. The reason this is important is because coffee has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. So if you have a cup of coffee, we'll say 5 o'clock, that might not be out of your system until 5 a.m. in the morning, okay? So try to ideally limit or cut caffeine after midday and just opt for decaf and just drink water. Now, 3 hours before bed, then try to stop eating. 2 hours before bed, try to stop drinking. And then 1 hour before bed, try to stop working, okay? And also try to stop looking at screens. And if you follow the 10-3-2-1 sleep rule in conjunction with trying to get up and go to bed at the same time every single day, these are research and science-backed ways to improve your sleep without taking any tablets or melatonin supplements. Okay, so just to recap on how to lose visceral fat, number 1 is you follow the principles of our metabolic priming diet. Eat mostly single ingredient whole foods of a plant and a protein every single meal, and then eat the right amount of calories for you and for your individual goal. For the first 30 days, we want to go strict, okay? Forget that, this is a marathon, not a sprint approach. Go hard for the first 30 days. You'll start seeing results, you're most motivated then, and then when you start seeing changes, it will give you encouragement to keep going. Number 2 is you implement some good daily habits like weighing yourself every single morning, hydrating before you caffeinate, okay, getting some exercise in the morning. All of these things will have a positive impact upon your body composition, your mindset, and reducing that stubborn visceral fat. Number 3 is going to be we track our data, okay? Track your calories, track your body weight, track your lifts in the gym, take progress pictures. The more ways you can measure, the more ways you can win. Number 4 is that we do metabolic resistance training, okay? Don't just focus on one thing. Don't be the guy that just does cardio. Don't be the guy that just does weights. Do a combination of everything. Do some strength work, do some hypertrophy work, do some cardio, do some mobility work, do some HIIT training. And when you combine all of these things, okay, you'll be well rounded and more fitter. And number 5 is going to be sleep more. So ideally aim for at least 7 or 8 hours of sleep. What I personally have is a Garmin Fenix 8 here. This will tell me how many hours of sleep I got every single night, what percentage of my sleep was deep REM sleep, and what percentage of the time that I was awake. And it'll also tell me my HRV score, which is my heart rate variability. Again, I like to measure this thing, and again, it's like a game. The more ways I can measure this, the more ways I can win. Okay, so if you do these 5 things, okay, this will definitely help you reduce your visceral fat, improve your body composition, and enhance your longevity. And if that is the goal of yours, you're a high performer, you're a CEO, executive, business owner, or a career-driven professional, you want this all laid out in a simple to follow plan, what I can do is I'll post a link to my online application form below, fill out your details, just schedule a call with me to see if you'll be a good fit for a coach, and on the call we can discuss what your goals are, what your challenges are, what you need help with, and if we might be able to help you. But that is all for this week's video. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you found it helpful, and we'll catch you in the next one. That is all for now.